Ruin comes in many forms. Destruction of the land, people slaughtered left and right, and good people falling into dark despair. These soldiers felt the same results, all falling into despair with the only trace of them left being the armor they once used, waiting for someone to come and guide them to a new fight. Yeah, Phantom Knights don't really have that much lore, but anyway, it's time to talk about the Phantom Knights. The Phantom Knights are a necromancer's best friend, using the graveyard as ammunition for multiple forms of stalling until you can make the play that will lead to a win, and focuses on Xyz summoning a variety of... Oh, sorry, what? Oh. They only have two? Oh, gotcha. Yeah, Phantom Knights really only have two Xyz monsters, one of them being pretty niche, but the other one being very useful. However, Phantom Knights don't just focus on regular monsters. If you manage to get attacked directly with certain traps in your grave, you can actually summon those traps from your grave as trap monsters, but they're not monsters because they're not treated as monsters.
I think you need a reboot because it's supposed to be the reverse, where the traps are treated as monsters and only monsters when they're summoned as monsters.
I may have flip-flopped a little. It specifies that they're not traps when they're considered monsters, but usually they have some pretty decent trap effects ranging from sending a spell or trap from the deck to the grave, to actually stopping an opponent from doing literally fucking anything. That trap is the Phantom Knight's Fog Blade, and when it is equipped to a monster, it can't attack, cannot activate its effects, and we cannot attack it. This is very good in combination with the good Xyz monsters, the Phantom Knights of Breaksword, where you can use an overlay unit to destroy the Phantom Knights of Breaksword, and also destroy the monster that's equipped with Fogblade that can't do shit because it's equipped with a Fogblade.
Wait, what's the point of destroying your own XYZ monster if it has decent stats and can destroy an opposing card?
I'm very glad you asked, Animadian, because you can summon the monsters that you used to summon the Phantom Knights of Breaksword back to the field, but they're one level higher. The Phantom Knights don't exactly have a rank 4 Xyz monster, but they are an anime deck, so they do have a little bit of a MacGuffin Xyz monster, kinda like with Speedroid. Cloaked in shadows and relentless in its objective, that monster is Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. Yep, it's another Dimension Dragon, and unlike Clearwing where it's stuck bullying level 5 and over, Dark Rebellion can bully literally everything by using 2 overlay units to steal its attack points. However, Dark Rebellion isn't the only Xyz Dragon, as like Clearwing, it also has a couple upgrades, mainly using the old-fashioned method of rank-up magic cards. With Phantom Knight's rank-up magic launch and a Dark Rebellion that ratioed its enemy a little too early, you can call for the dragon from the bleak black pit of Twitter, Dark Requiem Xyz Dragon. With Dark Requiem ranked up from Dark Rebellion, you can use Dark Rebellion's effect, only it steals all the attack points, and if you use an extra overlay unit, you can summon a Xyz monster from your grave and negate a monster effect the moment it activates. There is 2 more rank-up magics if you don't feel like making Dark Rebellion ratio the enemy and use up all its overlay units so you can use Phantom Knight's rank-up magic launch. Those rank-ups are the Phantom Knight's rank-up magic force and Raider's Knight, which we will touch on later. If you have multiple dark monsters in your graveyard, you can almost immediately summon into either Dark Rebellion or one of the boosted forms, although if you do go for the boosted forms, might I recommend Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon. Where Dark Rebellion wanted to do a little trolling, Arc Rebellion ain't having any of that, because the moment it uses an overlay unit, all the attack on the field converges into it. What's also nice is that if you did the correct thing and summoned it off of an already existing Xyz monster, it negates literally everything on the field if when it activated that effect, it had an Xyz monster as material. Your opponent can still use their face down cards, but if they were trying to get you with goddamn Avramax, then they're gonna need to try and think of another strategy, because that thing is getting a hole punch through them. Speaking of Arc Rebellion, you can also summon it off of Raider's Knight, which lets you use an overlay unit on Raider's Knight to summon a monster that's 1 rank higher or 1 rank lower. And Arc Rebellion is allowed because it specifically mentions Xyz Dragon and not Phantom Knights or Raid Raptor. The funniest part of this is despite having to probably be destroyed during the next turn, it just isn't because Arc Rebellion is naturally immune when it is Xyz summoned to card effects, and Raider's Knight specifically Xyz summons. I could go on and on about the different uses for the Xyz monster, but I am going to be brutally honest, Phantom Knights without any engine is kinda meh. I will say, it does have very good swarm and stall potential, but alone the Phantom Knights monsters can't really do anything, and it does take a little bit to get Dark Rebellion set up. What's much worse is that if you rely on Dark Rebellion specifically inside of a pure Phantom Knights, it is very opponent dependent on them overextending, because when they overextend, you're able to use Dark Rebellion's effect to its full effect, or Arc Rebellion to be able to completely screw over the opponent with one attack. Phantom Knights also has a really big problem with removal, where it just can't really do it through card effects, and specifically needs to do it through battle, unless you count Breaksword, but Breaksword relies on you sacrificing a card on your field in order to actually make it work. As well, the Phantom Knights traps that you can summon aren't really that good because the moment you play them, they usually are used as bait to stop an opponent from trying to kill you, and if they can survive for one turn, then you can just bring out Dark Rebellion into Arc Rebellion or Raider's Knight into Arc Rebellion and then just win. The Phantom Knights do have a very good, albeit a little expensive, link monster called the Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardiche. With Rusty Bardiche, you can send a Phantom Knights card from your deck to the graveyard in order to set a Phantom Knights spell or trap from your deck to your field. Rusty Bardiche does also have a decent pop effect whenever you Xyz summon, although there is a very major downside in the form of its summoning cost being 3 dark monsters. Rusty Bardiche needs 3 different Phantom Knights monsters, which can ruin your chances at being able to Xyz summon with said Phantom Knights in order to get an easy win. Although, there is a way around it because of how link summoning works, where Bardiche is a link 3, so you can technically go into the link 2 Dark Charmer, steal a monster from your opponent's graveyard, and then go into Bardiche, but the only problem is it relies on your opponent also running dark monsters, which is probably very unlikely. Aside from that though, Phantom Knights traps do cover a variety of different effects, including boosting your attack points to protecting your monsters from battle destruction to also allowing you to bring back your banished monsters. Especially for Ancient Cloak and Silent Boots, because you can banish those 2 from your graveyard to either add a Phantom Knights card or monster that can turn into a trap. With Ancient Cloak and with Silent Boots, you can add any spell or trap from your deck to your hand as long as it mentions the Phantom Knights. If you want to, you can also include a little bit of Raid Raptor, seeing as Raiders is basically the combination of the Phantom Knights and Raid Raptors in order to form a decent linking point. Not with link summoning. Definitely not with link summoning. Those 2 are Xyz decks.
And we can't possibly talk about Phantom Knight and Raid Raptor hybrids without talking about Raider's Wing, which can make summoning Dark Rebellion or other rank 4s easier at the cost of an overlay unit.
Aside from that though, as long as your opponent doesn't top deck Harpy's Feather Duster or have mass removal at their fingertips, you should be free to Phantom Knights. And with that is going to be the end of teasers, because I actually want to decide which ones I do next and not have to keep the teasers going for the next ones continuously, so I have to keep following that specific list. That being said though, I hope you enjoyed How to Phantom Knights.